There are days when a football club just feels like the epicenter of the transfer universe, and today Leeds United is absolutely that club. Two massive stories are swirling around Elland Road, and both could define the trajectory of this season. On one hand, there's the long drawn-out drama of Bilal El-Khanous and his ticking release clause. On the other, a new move for a fullback that might finally patch up one of Leeds' most vulnerable positions. Strap in, because this is going to be a ride. Let's start with the El-Khanous saga, the one that's been dragging on for what feels like forever. The Moroccan midfielder has been on the radar of half the Premier League, and the big deadline everyone's been talking about has finally arrived. As of tonight, as the clock strikes midnight on August 15th, his release clause officially expires. That clause, reportedly sitting at just under 25 million, is only valid until the end of today. And once it's gone, the whole game changes. But here's where it gets spicy. A lot of fans have been asking, why doesn't Leeds just pay it already? And look, it's a fair question on paper, but football transfers aren't that simple. It's not Football Manager. You don't just drop the cash, hit confirm, and the player shows up at Thorpe Arch with a smile and a pen. If the player isn't convinced, if he hasn't agreed to join, you're just flushing money down the drain. Clubs need the green light from the player before triggering a clause like that. Otherwise, they're paying to break a contract with zero guarantees. That's not ambition. It's reckless. El-Khanous has options. Crystal Palace are sniffing around. West Ham are in the mix. Leeds are very much still there. And we've been in the conversation longer than most. Even Leipzig had interest before stepping aside. Newcastle showed signs of a move, but with Jacob Ramsey going their way, that door seems shut. So it all comes down to the player. Where does he want to go? What kind of project is he buying into? And here's the thing. This isn't just about money or league position. It's about role. It's about development. It's about a manager's vision. Leeds offers a very specific pathway. A young, dynamic team. A coach in Daniel Farke who's proven he can develop talent. A fan base that lives and breathes every second of the 90 minutes. That's a different kind of pitch than what some of the Premier League mid-table clubs are offering. And for a player like El-Khanous, who's not just looking to cash in, but to grow into one of the top midfielders in Europe, that matters. Or at least it should. Now, let's say the clause isn't triggered. That doesn't mean the deal is dead. It just means the price goes up, negotiations get trickier, and competition gets fiercer. The safety net of that release clause disappears. So today's a pivotal moment, and by the end of it, we should know where El-Khanous is leaning, and if Leeds can pull this off, that's not just a good signing. That's a statement. A statement that we're not just trying to survive, we're trying to build. But while all the El-Khanous noise has dominated headlines, Leeds have been working quietly, almost under the radar, on solving one of their most critical weaknesses, fullback depth. Last season exposed it big time. We saw makeshift options, injuries, inconsistencies, players being forced out of position. It's been a revolving door on the flanks and it needed fixing. Well, the club might just have made a very smart move here. Reports are emerging that Leeds have submitted a bid in the region of £7 million for James Justin. Yes, James Justin, Leicester City's versatile defender, who on his day is as solid and intelligent a fullback as you'll find in English football. And this isn't just one of those wild transfer rumors with no legs. It's coming from multiple sources, including some reliable aggregators who specialize in Leicester transfers. This one feels real. It feels close. Let's talk about what Justin brings to the table. First of all, versatility. He can play on either flank, right or left, and do so comfortably. That's huge. In a squad like Leeds, where depth has been tested to the limit, having a player who can fill in across the backline without a significant drop in quality is invaluable. Think about last season. We had Byram, Firpo, Bogle, Schmidt, and even Vogel occasionally filling in. Some of those names are gone now. Others are question marks. Schmidt is potentially on his way out. Firpo is gone. Vogel also gone. That leaves a massive gap, and Justin fits the bill. He's homegrown, still relatively young, and already has Premier League experience under his belt. He even captained Leicester recently, which says a lot about how he's viewed inside that dressing room. Now, fair's fair. His last season wasn't spectacular. But let's be honest, no one at Leicester looked good last year. You talk to any Foxes supporter and they'll tell you the same thing. The whole structure collapsed. Poor management, lack of identity, tactical confusion. It was chaos. You can't judge a player like Justin purely on last season when everything around him was on fire. And for just £7 million, this might be one of those sneaky good championship deals that sets us up not just for this season, but for the long haul. He might not be a nailed-on starter every single week, but as cover for Bogle or Gumnarsson. That's excellent depth. And let's not forget what Daniel Farke has done with players in similar positions. Bogle was relegated before coming to Leeds and has turned into a machine under Farke. The system matters. The coaching matters. Justin could absolutely thrive in this environment. We're not just getting a body through the door. We're getting a proper squad player who understands English football, who can contribute immediately, and who still has room to grow. If we're serious about promotion, serious about competing on all fronts, these are the kinds of moves we need to be making. And the best part? There's chatter that this might not be the only deal involving Leicester. There's potential for a double swoop. Elkanus and Justin arriving in the same window. That's not just smart business. That's ambition with intent. Now, just a quick note before people get too excited. Any players we sign from now until Monday won't be eligible for the Everton game. The league has a strict cutoff for registrations. Players need to be registered by noon on the Thursday before a match week in order to be eligible. So anyone signed after that, including Justin or Elkanus if it happens, won't be able to feature until the Arsenal match. That's just how the rule works. Speaking of the Everton game, there's a bit of nervousness around it. Fitness updates are going to be crucial. If Bogle isn't ready, that's a major problem. Schmidt potentially filling in against White. McNeil or Grealish depending on the system. That's a mismatch waiting to happen. Daniel Farke's press conference later today might shed some light on where we're at in terms of availability, especially for key players. But even with those short-term worries, the direction Leeds are heading in feels promising. We're finally addressing key areas. We're not panicking. We're making moves that make sense both tactically and financially. And most importantly, we're building a team, not just a squad. A team that can grow together, that has a clear identity, and that can push for promotion with conviction. Elkanus is the creative spark. Justin is the dependable presence. Both deals represent progress. Real, tangible progress. Not just for the now, but for the months and years ahead. But of course, football's never that simple, is it? For every move that looks like it's falling into place, there's always a handful of variables that could flip the script entirely. And when you're dealing with a transfer window, especially in the final weeks, timing becomes everything. Leeds fans know that all too well. One day, a deal seems done. The next, it's off. 1 minute you're confident, the next you're watching a target pull on someone else's shirt. That's why what happens over the next 48 hours could be defining not just for the summer, but for the tone this entire season will take. Let's circle back to Elkanus for a second. There's a reality here that needs to be acknowledged. The kid's a top talent. We're not talking about some raw, unproven teenager hoping for a breakout moment. He's already delivering. 2 assists already this season. And here's the wild part. His team has only scored 2 goals. That's not just impressive. That's absurd. That's a player who's carrying creative weight far beyond what's expected of someone his age. And he's doing it with maturity, calmness, and precision that screams high ceiling. What makes Elkanus so valuable isn't just what he brings in the final third. It's how he progresses the ball. He's not the type to take defenders on with flair and tricks like a traditional winger. That's not his game. What he does is read the play 2 steps ahead. He makes that splitting pass. He dictates tempo. He drifts into spaces where he becomes dangerous simply by existing in the right place at the right time. And that's why clubs like Palace and West Ham are interested. That's why Leipzig had him on their radar. That's why Leeds have been chasing him for weeks. But the question remains, what is he thinking? What does Elkanus want from his next step? Because again, this isn't just about the money. He'll get paid wherever he goes. This is about opportunity, about development, about vision. If Palace sell Eberechi Eze, you can absolutely see them pushing hard to make Elkanus the centerpiece of that next evolution. But if Eze stays, that complicates things. Does Elkanus want to be second choice? Wait in line behind a player who's already integral to the system? Probably not. And then there's West Ham. Yes, they're a Premier League club. Yes, they're in Europe now and then. But are they offering him a guaranteed starting role? Are they going to build a midfield around him? Or is he just another name in a crowded room of maybes and what ifs? These are the things that matter to players now. The badge on a shirt doesn't hold the same sway it used to. It's about how a club plans to use you, how a manager sees you, and how that aligns with where you see yourself in 3 years' time. And this is where Leeds might have a secret weapon. Daniel Farke. Look at his track record. Look at how he treats young players. He gives them trust. He gives them minutes. He lets them make mistakes. But most importantly, he coaches them. He turns potential into performance. That's huge for a player like Elkanus. If he wants to become a star, not just a squad player, Leeds is offering him the kind of environment that can shape a career. But again, clock's ticking. Midnight tonight is the deadline for that release clause. After that, things get complicated. If we get him in before then, it's clean, straightforward. We know the fee. We know the rules. If we wait too long, we enter the realm of negotiation. Clubs playing hardball, agents asking for more, and rival interest heating up. That's why today isn't just another transfer day. It could be the day for this deal. And if Leeds can pull it off, is one of the best moves of the championship window. Now let's jump back to James Justin. Because while the Elkanus saga is dramatic and headline-grabbing, Justin is the kind of signing that often flies under the radar but ends up being absolutely crucial. Let's be honest, how many times have we looked at the bench last season and thought, if one more fullback gets injured, we're completely screwed? That's not a situation you want to be in again. And with Firpo gone, Vogel gone, and Schmidt halfway out the door, Leeds needed to move, and they did. Justin is experienced, he's homegrown, and he's got the kind of flexibility that lets you tweak your system without reshuffling the entire backline. Play him on the right? No problem. Switch him to the left? He's got that covered. Need a back three? He can tuck in. That kind of utility doesn't just make your squad deeper, it makes it smarter. And in a season that's going to test everyone's depth, that matters more than ever. But there's something else to like about this move, and that's the price. £7 million for a player who was recently a captain in the Premier League. That's a steal. In this market, with English players carrying premium tags, this is the kind of value that can set clubs apart. We're not spending big just to make noise. We're spending smart. And that's what you need in a league as unforgiving as a championship. Of course, some fans might look at Justin and say, he was part of a relegated team. How good can he be? But that's missing the point. Football isn't played in isolation. You can't evaluate a player without context. Leicester were a mess last season. Managerial chaos, tactical confusion, no identity. And when a team loses its structure, everyone suffers. Justin was no exception. But that doesn't erase his quality. It just highlights how important system and stability are. And under Farke, you better believe he's getting that. And that's really the theme right now at Leeds. Structure, identity, clarity. For the first time in a while, it feels like there's a plan. A clear strategy, not just buying names, but building a team. A team that fits together, that understands roles, that has depth where it needs it most. You look at the pieces falling into place, and there's a growing sense that this squad is starting to look like a real contender. Now, of course, that doesn't mean it's going to be smooth sailing. There are still questions, still gaps. Injuries are always going to be a threat, and with the Everton match looming, there are fitness concerns that could affect the starting 11 in a big way. One of the biggest question marks? Jayden Bogle. If he's not fit, that could cause real problems. Going up against a team like Everton without a fully fit right back, not ideal. Especially if Schmidt ends up having to fill in. He's still raw, and that matchup is not in his favor. Daniel Farke's press conference later today is going to be key, not just for team news, but for insight into where the club stands on transfers. He's not the kind of manager to hide behind cliches. He'll speak openly about what the board's doing, what he expects, and whether he feels the squad is ready. And if he hints at more signings coming in, that's a big sign that this club isn't done yet. One name to keep an eye on, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, nothing's confirmed, and this is all speculative, but there's been noise. If a deal does get done today, he wouldn't be eligible for Everton. Again, that registration deadline. But he would be available for Arsenal. And let's be honest, having him in the squad changes things. It adds a focal point. a different kind of threat. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but even the possibility adds another layer to what's shaping up to be a very intriguing week. So with all that in mind, here's where we stand. Leeds United are not just reacting this summer, they're executing. They've identified weaknesses, they've moved early on targets, and they're showing the kind of ambition that makes fans believe again. El Canus, if it happens, is a game changer. Justin, if finalized, is a stabilizer. And together they represent a squad that's being built with care, with intent, and with a clear identity. The season's already starting to take shape. And with each day, each signing, and each press conference, we're seeing more and more of what this version of Leeds United is going to look like. Young, hungry, flexible, and most importantly, ready to fight for every point. The next 24 hours are going to be massive. And when the dust settles, we might be looking at a Leeds side that's gone from rebuilding to reloading faster than anyone expected. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on Leeds United. And make sure to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Joël PIROE has reportedly sent shockwaves through the Leeds United fanbase after rumors emerged suggesting his imminent departure from the club, igniting a flurry of speculation across the footballing world. Sources close to the striker hint that this decision, which has yet to be officially confirmed, may be motivated by ambitions of testing himself in a more competitive league or perhaps securing a more lucrative contract elsewhere. Leeds supporters, who have grown increasingly attached to PIROE due to his consistent work rate and ability to adapt to various tactical demands, are reportedly torn between disappointment and understanding. Some insiders argue that the timing of the announcement is particularly surprising, given the club's ongoing efforts to consolidate its squad and aim for higher positions in the Premier League table, while others suggest that internal dynamics or unspoken disagreements may have influenced the player's potential exit. Football pundits are already speculating about which clubs could benefit from his skill set, with whispers linking him to several high-profile teams in both England and continental Europe. This uncertainty has not only fueled a media frenzy, but also sparked intense debate on social media platforms, where fans, former players, and journalists are dissecting every possible scenario regarding PIROE's next move and its potential impact on Leeds United's strategic planning for the upcoming season. While no formal transfer negotiations have been publicly confirmed, rumors persist that several clubs are already keeping a close eye on PIROE's situation, evaluating the possibility of snapping him up before the market closes. Analysts suggest that his versatility as a forward, capable of operating both as a central striker and in supporting roles, makes him an attractive prospect for teams looking to bolster their attacking options without committing to an expensive marquee signing. Additionally, reports indicate that his physical attributes, combined with his tactical intelligence and experience in high-pressure matches, may place him on the radar of clubs competing in European competitions, where a player of his profile could make an immediate impact. While Leeds United's management has remained tight-lipped on the issue, whispers from inside the club hint at a sense of inevitability regarding PIROE's potential departure, with some suggesting that negotiations may have been ongoing behind closed doors for weeks. The uncertainty surrounding his future has sparked heated debate among supporters, with some fearing that losing PIROE could disrupt team cohesion and momentum, while others believe that his potential exit may pave the way for emerging talents to stake their claim and for the club to explore strategic reinforcements that align with the manager's long-term vision. Complicating matters further, insiders suggest that the timing of PIROE's rumored exit could coincide with strategic maneuvers by rival clubs, each seeking to exploit Leeds United's potential vulnerability in the transfer market. Speculation abounds that his departure could trigger a domino effect, with the club potentially entering negotiations to secure replacements or reevaluate squad priorities, balancing financial prudence with competitive ambitions. Meanwhile, forums and online communities are buzzing with theories, ranging from the plausible to the fantastical, as supporters dissect past performances, rumored offers, and the subtle hints dropped by PIROE and club officials in interviews. Analysts caution that in football, what begins as a rumor can quickly evolve into an official transfer saga, especially when a player of PIROE's caliber and potential is involved. Additionally, industry insiders note that the player's agent may be orchestrating discussions discreetly, attempting to maximize leverage and ensure a deal that satisfies both financial and professional aspirations. As whispers grow louder, the anticipation surrounding Leeds United's response and the potential repercussions on team morale, tactical planning, and fan sentiment continues to intensify, making this development one of the most talked about stories in recent Premier League discourse. Meanwhile, international media outlets are reportedly catching wind of PIROE's situation, amplifying the story beyond England and fueling speculation about possible destinations in Spain, Germany, or Italy, where clubs have historically valued forwards with his combination of technical skill, work ethic, and goal-scoring instinct. Market analysts point out that a move abroad could offer PIROE a fresh challenge and a chance to showcase his abilities on a bigger stage, potentially boosting his international profile and market value. Conversely, pundits warn that such a transition carries inherent risks, including adaptation to a new league, style of play, and cultural environment, all of which could influence his performance and long-term career trajectory. Social media continues to magnify every whisper and hint, with fans, former players, and journalists debating the likelihood of various transfer scenarios while analyzing every cryptic comment from club insiders. Even within Leeds United, uncertainty reportedly prevails as coaching staff and management weigh the consequences of potentially losing a player who has contributed significantly to both offensive play and squad cohesion. The story's evolving nature, coupled with the persistent lack of official confirmation, has ensured that the rumor mill remains highly active, with each passing day bringing new conjecture, speculation, and strategic maneuvering by interested parties both on and off the field. As the saga surrounding Joël PIROE's rumored departure continues to unfold, the wider footballing community remains riveted, tracking every development and anticipating how this potential transfer could reshape not only Leeds United's season, but also the broader dynamics of player movement across top European leagues. Club insiders suggest that discussions behind the scenes may intensify in the coming weeks, with negotiations possibly involving complex terms such as performance-based bonuses, loan-to-buy clauses, or multi-year contracts designed to protect the interests of both the player and the purchasing club. At the same time, fans are reportedly organizing online campaigns, sharing statistical analyses, and debating tactical scenarios that could emerge if PIROE indeed departs, highlighting the profound emotional and strategic significance of this rumor. Sports journalists emphasize that the situation underscores the fluidity of modern football, where a single player's decision can trigger widespread media attention, speculation, and fan engagement, reshaping narratives across multiple platforms. Should the transfer materialize, it could have ripple effects on Leeds United's transfer strategy, squad depth, and tactical flexibility, prompting the club to recalibrate ambitions and explore both domestic and international markets for replacements. Until official confirmation arrives, however, the rumor remains an intoxicating topic of conversation, blending anticipation, uncertainty, and the perpetual excitement that surrounds football's ever-shifting landscape. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep getting exclusive news about Leeds United, be sure to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to reading your comments and opinions. See you in the next video, Leeds fans.